Evening, gentlemen, and happy Thanksgiving to all Americans. Welcome to the Man's Hour Thanksgiving special. I'm joined by two gentlemen of power here. First off, American Populist, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. It's kind of chilly here in North Carolina, but as always, I enjoy the fine scenery here in the mountains.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And making his Man's Hour debut, Mr. Patriarch, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Happy to be here. It's a little more chilly up here in Alaska, but yeah, cold makes me feel alive. I'm excited for the Thanksgiving season. Excited to get a couple days off of work and spend some time with my family and all that goes with it. So feeling mighty thankful this year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, absolutely. So, gentlemen, let's just get right off to it. Right on the start here. We're just gonna have like a kind of a chill and relaxing stream. So, and we could talk about how American holidays are superior to the rest of the world and everything. And Thanksgiving truly is like the feasting holiday here in America. Massive family dinners and food and watching football and drinking beer and all that good stuff and it truly is one of my absolute favorites. It's kind of like really when winter starts to kick in, you're stuck indoors, everyone's, drinking their mixed drinks and all that fun stuff and having good turkeys. What do you guys always look forward to on Thanksgiving every year? Do you guys have any traditions that you really, enjoy or anything special that your families do?
I would do everything special, I would say, but I do always enjoy the turkey when it's homemade. Uh, when that happens, because it's usually fairly good. Grandmas know how to use the spices fairly well and cook it to that medium roast, which is just perfect. So I always look forward to the turkey. That's my favorite Thanksgiving tradition, easily, along with mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Yeah, no, I for me, the thing that I always like about Thanksgiving is just kind of the whole aesthetic of it, right? It is a uniquely American, Canadians might object, but it's a North American, shall we say, thoroughgoing American holiday that doesn't feel cheap or contrived or it is one of those holidays almost more so than Fourth of July for me that is really sort of um, orients yourself into sort of recognizing that, yeah, I'm part of this tradition. It's American. I like America, and I'm thankful for all the great things that I have. So, yeah, that spirit of thankfulness, I really like. And also, holidays are, among other things, a time for the family. So it's always really cool getting everyone together in one place. And yeah, the food, like American Populist said, I imagine we could go into that a bit more in the future. But yeah, there's just so many things to like about it, and yeah, I'm one of my favorite holidays for sure, definitely. So yeah, it'd be Christmas, and then Thanksgiving, and then Pascha, Easter.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thanksgiving is, a really, really enjoyable one for sure. I mean, it's a time of family, time of thanks, a patriarch, you mentioned the aesthetic, and yes, it's very nice. Like how many times do you go to like grandma's house and she has the whole place all decked out with fall colors and turkey decorations and everything like
Mm.
that. And it feels very like cozy. It feels like a really like welcoming
Yeah,
and homey
it's
holiday
a
for
it's
sure.
a it's a supremely cozy holiday, maybe the most cozy. It's really nice, and there's just something wholesome about it, and it's not really it's I think one of the reasons too why it's so effective and why so many people love Thanksgiving, even libs or whatever, is it's it kind of transcends politics in that, like, the history of Thanksgiving and sort of the spirit behind it, let's say, you know, is rooted in like reality and history and tradition, and it's really cool because of that. It's not like uh, some sort of random government holiday. It is rooted in people in place, and even progressives are begrudgingly admit that, or just sort of implicitly accept it with Thanksgiving. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about Thanksgiving, why everyone enjoys it so much, it's a very like I guess the word I'd use for it is it's very leisurely. It's not like a hectic holiday like Fourth of July. You're running around like
That's
getting
right. Yeah.
fireworks and getting drunk, or like Christmas where you have to go Christmas shopping and everyone's going from place to place and you have to get all the decorations up and get your Christmas tree ready. Like Thanksgiving is literally just gathering with family members and eating really good food and passing down traditions and spending time together. It's very relaxing in my experience.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I think another thing that I really enjoy about Thanksgiving is, for lack of a better word, it's kind of like a gendered holiday in my experience. It's like all the guys, will get together, they'll grab their beers, they'll go outside in the garage and start deep frying the turkey, and all the guys can just talk together. And they got like the football game on the small TV, in the garage while we're making the turkey, and all the women are inside, cooking the mashed potatoes or the stuffing or whatever, and they're just talking about what they're going to talk about. But it seems like everybody's got their space, everyone gets along, and it's just a good time to catch up with people, and as we said, be thankful for what we have.
I really enjoy the family aspect, as you mentioned. Like usually before in my family, we start eating and everything. We usually just like chat for like an hour or two as they make things, discuss how we're doing, how the family business on my mother's side of the family is going. Do we have anything exciting? Just catching up with aunts and uncles who we usually don't talk to for a lot of the year. It's fairly wholesome, and I fairly enjoy it. Meeting out with some of my uncles I really don't get to talk to a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And then also, as much as like, people in our circles will decry, the sports ball and everything like that. I mean, there's always a football game on, whether it's the Dallas Cowboys, they always have a football game on Thanksgiving Day, or the Detroit Lions, they always have a game going on. So, there's always, people crowding around the TV, watching their football, drinking beer, just, spending time together and enjoying themselves. So it, another big thing like my family always do, we always have like a card tournament, so we're always like playing cards, like whether it's like a poker or whatever, so everyone's just gathering around, having a drink, playing some cards, watching football. And like I said, it really just is, it's relaxing, it's a good way to wind down. It's really nice, it's on like a Thursday, like the, so often, people just don't even bother going to work the next day, in most cases, because all the businesses just know that like, okay, people aren't going to be interested in working on this Friday, so you kind of get like a long weekend, to kind of like recharge your batteries before the Christmas season. So there's tons to look forward to on Thanksgiving.
No, there very much is. Making memories with friends and family, family fights that happen over drama. It's fairly fun, and I enjoy it a lot. The memories you make are just something you don't forget. I still remember even my earliest Thanksgiving when I was like 4 or 5. Uh, Kind of just the way you're taught about it in America. It's fairly unique thing that you can actually hold on to. It isn't just this deculturalized holiday. It actually has meaning and significance to Americans, which is what I fairly enjoy about it.
Yeah, while we're at it, we might as well mention the the actual history of the holiday for those that in the audience that are not Americans. But the holiday harkens back to colonial times. The Mayflower, when the settlers and the Pilgrims were settling New England in America, and Thanksgiving is commemorated to celebrate the the bondings of the family gatherings in colonial America after the fall harvest and all that fun stuff, and also sharing great big feasts with Native Americans at the time as well. So it's a celebration of family, community, and all that stuff. Which I'm glad that we're still holding on to this stuff, and thankfully it hasn't been infiltrated like Columbus Day with a bunch of woke bullshit. It seems to be something that actually we have held on to.
Yeah, it also isn't as politicized. I've noticed. It doesn't have this right or left sort of spectrum to it. it's more of just like family gathering discussions, which is what I enjoy about it. There isn't political talk; it's just talking with family, hanging out, giving thanks, discussing how you're doing, what's going on. Eating good food that you actually make. Um, and it's a rarity in our culture now that we've been so politicized by our adversaries that we have this one outlet, one holiday where we can now just relax and talk to each other.
For sure, and I think that's a interesting thing we can talk about now as well. Is that just the food and the cooking aspect of the holiday as well? Because I mean, all the stores are closed on Thanksgiving, so it's not like you can, go out and, order Uber Eats or something. You actually have to cook for yourself, and every family does it differently. The old, grandma and grandpa's recipes like come out of the cookbook and everything like that, and you know, it's it's a good thing to encourage, cooking at home, having big families, and all that fun stuff. So, what do you guys always look forward to the most on, Thanksgiving? Let's first start off. There's kind of different philosophies on how to, cook your turkey. Do you oven roast it? Do you deep fry it? What do you guys prefer? Do you guys have a preference for how you like your turkeys done?
I have oven
Yes.
roasted all the way.
Yes, I oven roast it as well, but we do something a little bit different where we brine the turkey actually for about a day and a half beforehand. And what the brine does is it kind of crusts the outside of the skin up. And then as a result, every single time you make the turkey, it's always moist, it's never dry if you use that method. So, words to the wise out there, anyone listening. I mean, this is going to be released on Thanksgiving Day, so it may be too late. But for next year, definitely try, if you haven't, try and brine the outside of your turkey beforehand, and then oven roast it, and then you'll see the difference. It's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, interesting. So on my side of the family, it's a real big family. There's like 40, sometimes up to 50 people that show up. So we always do at least two turkeys, if not three. And we always oven roast one and deep fry one. And sometimes we will oven roast a second one. But I personally, at this point, will only eat a turkey if it's deep fried. It's much, much better, in my opinion. I mean, we do brine ours a little bit before we, inject it into the deep fryer and, cook it with peanut oil. And, it's, I just think it's so much better that way. And my reasoning behind this
Peanut
is that,
oil, not Sneed oil, right?
yeah, no, God, no, 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 no Sneed oils before Marcus, screams in the chat here, at some point, Um, but yeah, peanut oil, deep frying it, 45 minutes plus 3 minutes for each pound of the bird. So it's a lot quicker than, oven roasting it. And the other thing I really like about deep frying the turkey is that when you carve that bird, that thing is hot. Like it's ready to serve right away. I find it's such a problem with like an oven roasted turkey that by the time after you've carved it and let it sit for a bit, it just gets really cold. And like I'm not a fan of like cold meat in general. It's got to be hot for me. And when that bird is sitting in that oil, thing's hot and it's ready to go. Which is why I really enjoy it. But you got to be super careful with this stuff. All Americans will know that the number one day of the year when firefighters are used is Thanksgiving Day. Every single year, somebody catches their garage or their house on fire because they're being stupid playing around with one of these turkey fryers.
Yeah, I
So
was going to say deep frying a turkey. Yeah.
yeah, you got to be careful, but it does taste just so much better in my personal preference.
I don't think I've ever had deep fried turkey, but I've had regular oven roasted turkey, and I've had it with this sort of advanced brine method. And yeah, I would imagine that the deep frying probably achieves a similar result to the briny method, because when you fry something immediately, the outside gets sizzled, right, and then that sort of keeps everything inside. And yeah, with the brine, it's just sort of a achieving a similar sort of thing with a solution. But yeah, I definitely like to try deep fried turkey. I bet it's fantastic, particularly compared to a normal oven roasted one.
I would
Yeah,
as well. I guess it just depends on how your family traditionally cooks it. If you have some of your older members, they like to cling on to the oven method, but I have seen on my uncle's side using the boiler, just air frying it or deep frying it with one of those boilers. But you gotta be careful with that because it's fairly easy to mess that up, and it can explode in your face and like cause a fire. I've seen countless stories over the years of people doing that endlessly on Thanksgiving.
yeah, you do have to be very careful. I mean, we have a whole method set up for it, and we've actually crafted our own equipment to ensure it goes much more safer. And basically, the store bought, equipment that you use is just a glove that goes all the way up to your elbow, so you're not going to get caught by any of like the really really hot grease. And you essentially just reach in with a hook and just grab it by the hand, and then that's how you pull the bird out. But we, crafted our own method of doing this, where we took a coat hanger and wrapped one of those C clamps around the end of a broom handle. And so it gave us like an extra 6 or 7 feet, and you can actually use like a little bit of leverage to slowly pull the bird out of this, 370-degree, hot oil and everything that's underneath a burner. And you got to really, really be careful when you're pulling this, 17, 18-pound bird, out of this, deep fryer here, because grease, as we all know, is super, super flammable, and it's not like you know, it's not like a traditional fire, and it needs to be smothered. You can't just like put water on it, because that's just going to make the grease spread further and it's going to cause you more problems. So you just got to be really careful with this stuff. But if you know what you're doing, it is definitely well worth it and a very good reward, in my experience. And as I said, it's, you know, we keep the two turkeys separated when we're carving them on Thanksgiving. At this point, they'll be like the far left side of like the buffet table will be like the deep fried bird, and the far right side will be the oven fried. And at this point, I'm like, nope, I'm just going for the deep fried one. And also, I don't know if you guys do any of this, but do you like strategically place yourself like on like the cooking team, so you get like first crack at some of the food, or all that stuff? Because I absolutely do that. Like I want to be the first one. It's like, all right, I cooked this bird. I want the really really nice parts.
Yeah, no, I typically just sort of, where we as far as the cooking goes, we sort of leave that to the women folk. But then I'll keep poking in there, me or my dad or my brothers, and we'll just be like, "Ooh, that looks good," snake a bite and then run away, sort of thing. But yeah, this is kind of how we do it.
I typically wouldn't. I would just be around there waiting and just get there first. Just be ahead of the line and make my plate is what I do. So it's already ready to go. It's hot, and you get the first dibs on whatever you want.
Now, as far as cuts of meat goes, I'm a drumstick man. Like I've always preferred the drumstick. How about you guys?
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I don't really care for the wings and the drumstick part. Personally, I'm not that big of a fan of like the fat on my game
Mm,
birds.
fat.
I'm not a big fan of it. I like my fat on like the red meat. I don't know. It might be just me autistically breaking this down, but I just prefer like fat on like a red meat as opposed to like a white meat. So, and also I almost will only eat the white meat of the turkey. I don't really care for the dark meat that much.
Oh
I'm the exact
man,
same way.
I'm the exact opposite. I like I like the dark meat.
No, I only eat the white meat. Is what I do. I like it with barbecue sauce. It's really good. Uh, but I don't know if you have this tradition, Red Rock, but it was more stressed by my grandmother's side, where the first person to like usually who would get the wishbone supposedly gets a wish. I wish we kind of had that tradition more now, but that was something we used to have when I was younger. The wishbone of the turkey.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
we
family
still do that.
doesn't. Yeah, my family actually we kind of do the wishbone stuff, but it's only the kids, like only like the younger kids will do it. Like the adults won't. It's just kind of like one of those things that we let the little kids do. They're like, oh, okay, kids, gather around. Here's your bone now. The because it's like just such a big family. It's something that we save for the little ones.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, it was something that we sort of did as kids, and I'm sure we'll continue to do with my boys. But yeah, it was something that I think we kind of grew out of. But yeah, we did it for years with the wishbone thing. The wishbone is kind of like Halloween. It's more of a kids thing. But now, while we're on the subject of food, do you guys want to move on to preferred sides?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was going to be my next part. So, um, I think I think like for the core of like what everyone envisions a Thanksgiving dinner to be, I think the two sides that everyone goes to right away are the mashed potatoes and the stuffing. I think so.
Mm.
What do you guys opinions on those two? Do you guys go for the mashed potatoes first, or are you guys more like stuffing people?
I'll go first. I obviously go for the mashed potatoes, but I don't have gravy because I'm just not a gravy person. But I don't like stuffing. Just not a stuffing person, so I usually go for like green beans with my side.
Mm.
Is what I typically do. Or I go for because they usually have this in my family. Mac and cheese is just a side to have there. That's what I choose on my turkey plate.
Mm.
Yeah, I objectively, I think I prefer the mashed potatoes and gravy. However, the stuffing is a really nice seasonal thing, right? It's kind of like eggnog. You don't want to have eggnog all year long, but it's nice around this time of the year when it's cold outside and the holidays are coming. But it's a similar sort of thing with stuffing. I wouldn't want stuffing all the time, but it just pairs very well with the turkey and the gravy and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I tend to get both. Like I sample everything at Thanksgiving. I leave no no stone unturned.
Yeah, I'm not too picky on the sides either. My grandmother does some of the best stuffing in the world. She just knows how to make the bread very very crispy in it, and she makes it with some green peppers, and then also has maple sausage. She like grounds up a little bit of like Bob Evans maple sausage in there as well. So it just works so well. And then of course pairing it on with some warm gravy and mashed potatoes with some butter on the side. Oh boy, it's awesome. Populist, you probably get this being a Southerner. Do you guys do cornbread as well, or no?
Oh yes, always have cornbread with the Thanksgiving dinner. That would be heresy not to.
Yeah, yeah, the cornbread is a nice touch
And
as
you always
well.
have sweet tea. Usually, sweet tea.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely a Southern thing.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Me and the Great Lakes, no, we're not a sweet tea people, but everyone's always drinking like cider. Typically like either it's
Yeah,
apple cider or the adults.
Martinelli's.
Yeah, yeah, the adults will mix it. Stick some bourbon in there or something. Or the warm ciders as well. Stick a little bit of
Mm.
whiskey in there and stick it in the microwave, and then go outside while you're
Throw
cooking
in
this
a cinnamon
turkey.
stick. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh
no,
man,
that's really good.
yeah, this
Okay.
conversation is making me hungry, man.
Yeah, just a week, guys. Just a week.
I know. It's
Um,
almost here, man.
almost. Yeah, one of my
But
favorite sides that we like to do is candied yams. Those are really good. Have you guys ever had those? So
no,
for
no, can't say I have.
yeah, so for the audience, what they are is you take yams or sweet potatoes, whatever you call them, and then you cut them up into kind of quarters. And then what you do is you put a bunch of butter, cinnamon, some brown sugar, and marshmallows on the top, and then you bake them. And then you got this sort of like crispy marshmallow layer on top of the yams, and it sounds weird. I know it sounds weird, but
Yeah, it does.
it's really freaking good. And the guy who started doing it was my grandpa. He's from Oklahoma, and I think that was a thing from that part of the U.S. And then he's just like, yeah, gotta try some candied yams. And then we started. I remember having them for Thanksgiving ever since I was as long as I can remember. And I think that was his influence. And yeah, candied yams they're the shit. They're really good for a side. And my brother especially, he can't get enough of them. And it's a seasonal thing that we do.
Yeah, that might be one of the most unique, sides I've ever heard someone talk about for Thanksgiving.
I've never heard
Candy
of that one
yams.
either.
Really? You guys
Never
never heard
heard
of
of it.
candy yams? Oh,
No, I don't know. Maybe
huh.
somebody in the comments section will know about them. I'll check it after this video drops, and maybe somebody will be on your side, Patriarch. But
Yeah.
um,
Now I want to go into like the history of candy yams and see like where they came from because I
do an
thought they were kind of more popular, but I guess
do
not.
an do an in-depth, deepest lore on candied yams.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, they're really good. And if you like, some people don't like sweet food with their mains, but I do like it if it's kind of on the side a little bit, not necessarily main, but on the side. And yeah, candied yams are the bee's knees.
Mm. Uh, Populous mentioned green beans. That's always a popular vegetable of choice
Oh,
as well
I
for
love green
Wow.
beans.
yeah, me
Oh
as
yeah.
well. Yeah, that might be one of my favorite vegetables. I also
Yep.
really like asparagus, but it doesn't really pair very well with Thanksgiving. Asparagus you always kind
Mm,
of pair with like red meat, but you're not really cooking red meat on Thanksgiving. So,
no.
I mean, I forgot to mention this, but on the topic of turkeys, one year, this was maybe had been like maybe a dozen years ago now, but my uncle actually shot a turkey, and we cooked it on Thanksgiving. It was really convenient because he had fall turkey season, and he shot one a couple days before. He was very lucky. So this is kind of like a very unique opportunity when you have freshly shot this wild bird, and then we went and cooked it up. But I think this is very rare for me because I'm such a fan of wild game and everything. But I do think that wild turkeys just don't really taste very good. It wasn't very good.
Uh,
Not number one, they're a lot smaller. They're smaller than the
yeah.
the farm bred birds for obvious reasons. They're not injected with a bunch of you know New World Order hormones and all that
They're not
bullshit.
on that
But
New World Order corn too. The corn
yeah,
soy.
yeah, but you kind of do need these like really, really big birds on Thanksgiving because you have a big family of people and stuff. And when you
Yeah.
shoot one of these wild ones, it's not as big, and you have to go through the whole process of like processing the bird yourself. You got to make sure that you pluck it properly and get all the organs and debone it and everything. And it really just was. It was kind of like too much work, and it also, like I said, it just didn't really taste as good. So I
Yeah.
mean, as much as I am totally in favor of wild game, I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comments can give me more advice about this. But I've only had it once, so I wouldn't really know too much more about it.
Yeah, I never can't claim to have had a wild turkey. And you're right, with Thanksgiving, you really want a big turkey, and you're just not going to find 20-pound turkeys in the wild very often. And not only that, but we don't have them up here. So like I couldn't if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's too
Um,
cold for you guys. Yeah.
Too cold for the turkeys, yeah. But one thing that we do also like, we always have a turkey, but um, because of the amount of people who come for Thanksgiving, very oftentimes we'll also have a side main, which is usually a glazed spiral cut ham as our secondary main, and that's also really good. And another thing that we have around Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we always do a Christmas ham. So
Mm.
I usually don't get my the ham at Thanksgiving, but like I mentioned, we always cook at least two turkeys, so we're pretty much set on
Oh
on
yeah,
those grounds. But well, here's a question for you guys: Are you guys familiar with these like turduckens? Where they have like the turkey and the duck, and and
yes.
they stuff it all together. I've never had one of these. I know Mr. D has spoke about these quite a bit, but I'm not familiar with them myself.
I am not familiar either. I've never never heard of it before until today. So
Oh,
No, I've
really?
I've I've definitely heard of turduckens, but it's not something I've ever partaken in. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like I don't know if it's a a boomer thing or like a little bit of like a older American thing or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but it's so populist. Essentially, like, you carve out the inside of your turkey, and you stick a chicken in there, and then you carve out the side of the chicken, and then you stick a duck in there as well. So it's kind of like you know, uh, I don't know,
It's a
a turkey that's
chimera.
filled. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a turkey stuffed with other birds, and apparently you just stick it in the oven and oven roast them all together, and you just cut it layer by layer, which I don't know seems like a lot of work to me. Do you guys stuff your turkeys anyway when you oven roast them, or do you like cook everything separately? Because I know this is like an interesting topic as well, because people have different philosophies about this. Like they either stick the stuffing actually in the turkey when
Hmm.
they're oven roasting it, or they cook everything separately.
Yeah, we cook it separately. Yeah, and I think that's kind of how we've always done it. I imagine that the stuffing originally might have been a way to try and keep the bird moist, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we usually try to cook that stuff separately, but a couple of years we have had it inside the turkey, I think. Well, that's been a long time, so I don't really truly know. But we usually cook it separately on my side of the family.
Yeah, we do it separately as well. We've done it in previous years where we have kept it together. I think it was like something where a bunch of the teenage girls wanted to try it one year. I don't know, maybe they saw it on TikTok or something and they thought it would be a cool idea to try or something. Now, I mean, I think you're might be onto something there, Patriarch. I think it was something that they did in the past, either to keep the bird moist, or maybe it was to like save energy, like on the like gas bills or something like that. Like just cook everything together or something. But yeah, for us now, I mean, I prefer it, cooked separately as well.
Yeah,
Let's talk about, one of the Thanksgiving desserts. Everyone's got to bring out the pie, and do you guys go for the pumpkin pie, or do you guys do like an apple pie or something? What do you guys usually go for?
well, this year we're kind of doing I think, sort of a mixed berry pie. Now, pumpkin pie is always popular, and I love pumpkin pie, especially when it's spiced right. It's got a lot of spice. I like a lot of spice in my pumpkin pie. But this year we're doing a bunch of mixed berries. So my grandma, for ages, has been a big time gardener, and she's got quite a few berry patches. So specifically, I think two different kinds of raspberries and strawberries and salmon berries. So I think this year what mom's planning on doing is we got a bunch of these berries left over, and we're going to have like a mixed raspberry salmonberry pie for Thanksgiving, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, that would be interesting to try out. I think it definitely speaks to it feels a little bit more homely when you're actually like using your own stuff from your own garden like that. That would be way more interesting, than just getting like a generic store bought pumpkin pie or something like that. I mean, I personally, I'm going to upset a lot of people with this one, but I am not a connoisseur of pumpkin pie. I'm not a fan of it. I've never really enjoyed it, so I always go for the apple pie myself. But so that's my favorite.
Yeah, I
I'm not
will
really a
say,
pie person, but usually every year it's like cookies or something. I
mm,
know this is heresy, but we usually get like that Pillsbury Doughboy type chocolate chip cookies or something. If it's my grandmother, then yeah, she usually is apple pie or blueberry pie, which I don't typically eat because I am a Zoomer, so it's just my taste.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
apparently you Zoomers barely eat anything. My God, you
Nothing nutritious, that's for sure.
sad, very sad. Yeah, no, I really like pumpkin pie, and I gotta say, if you go to the right place, some stores make some excellent store bought pumpkin pie. Like one of the best pumpkin pies I've ever had in my life. I had just a few weeks ago. I bought it from Cars Safeway up here, and I was like, "Damn, this is really good." And again, they leaned into the spice, which I really like. So yeah, I'm a pumpkin pie appreciator. I like pie of all kinds. I definitely if I had to choose between pie or cake, I will tend to choose the pie. They're
Yeah, I
just
think I agree with you. Yeah. Do you like a softer pie, or do you like, kind of like the more crusty kind of pie?
so this is a interesting question. It's kind of the crispy cookie versus the chewy cookie thing. And with pies, uh, I like them sort of the similar way that I like my cookies, where if you're able to do it, you crisp the outside a little bit, but then the inside is just like super gooey, and that's kind of how I like my pies.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with that statement. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm looking for perfection here or like the happy medium, but I do like a pie that has, a pretty good crust on it. It's like the soft
Mm.
center, and then as you get further back, I don't know, kind of like a pizza, I guess. Like you got different experiences as you work your way up. And then add a little vanilla ice cream there on the side as well, and you're in business.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great. And American Populist was talking about cookies and stuff, and we save all that for Christmas time. So, like one of our family traditions for Christmas, ever since my brothers and I were, really small, basically as soon as we're old enough to do it, my grandma, one of my grandmas had come over, and then we just like make tons and tons of confectionaries. So sugar cookies, peanut brittle, fudge, chocolate chip cookies, candied orange peels, you name it. Just tons of this stuff like the week before Christmas. So we don't really do that too much for Thanksgiving. With Thanksgiving, it's mostly just, like I said, the pies, but that's kind of it.
That's just how my family is. It depends on the year. Sometimes they're extremely good at making actual food. Sometimes it's just like, just go to Publix, get the cookies, bake them. That's good to go, pretty much. Just how my family works.
Mm. You mentioned earlier I'm a populist about mac and cheese, and I realize this is also a very Southern thing as well. Like Southerners do, go for the mac and cheese on Thanksgiving. I don't really see that with Northerners, or especially people in New England who are kind of like Thanksgiving purists, I guess, because like the tradition really started up there. So I'm curious as to where that started and how that trend got going.
I'm not sure. That's just what we were raised on, is mac and cheese. And the variety varies. Sometimes it's baked mac and cheese, and sometimes just the kind you get the craft in the store where you can make a ton of it, and you just go in the lawn, get some, put on your plate. I don't know, maybe just because it's easy to make. It's probably the reason why, if I had to
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, America is such a big place, with various traditions and cultures and various biomes and everything like that, so everyone's got their little twist that they do on everything. I mean, famously in for Christmas, there's different Christmas carols and Christmas music that is picked up in each region of America. It's actually interesting. You guys can look at the top like 100 charts around like Christmas time, and the different regions of America have like different go-to Christmas songs that they all are familiar with, which I always thought was pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, as always, for our European friends, America is bigger than your entire continent, so it's a massive, massive place.
Texas is bigger than France, to keep that in perspective for the Euro bros who are watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and Patriarch's up in Alaska, and that's the biggest state of all of them. So
Yeah. And
I think Alaska, if it was on the mainland, is like the size of the entire eastern seaboard of the US.
yeah, so if you, they've done, that meme where they superimpose the United States over Europe, right? Um, well, they did that with Alaska on the United States, and literally, if you go from the southeast of Alaska, that island archipelago, all the way to the end of the Aleutian chain, it literally spans the United States coast to coast. Um,
it's so mind-boggling.
it's huge. Now, in terms of land, and it also has more coastal area than the rest of the United States combined. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And if you were to compare it to another country, Alaska is, I think, 140% as large as South Africa is, except South Africa has about 60 million people and Alaska has like less than 750,000. So it's the population density is very low, but yeah, it's a massive place.
I think the population density is actually 1 per square meter, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean it might
That's amazing.
1 per square mile, maybe. Like I don't know, but and also the freshwater thing is ridiculous. So the amount of lakes, yeah, the amount of lakes up here is also mind-boggling. So lakes that are 10 acres or more in the state, I think there's about 3 million of them. So there's literally like three times as many 10-acre lakes than people. And that's not including like small ponds or rivers or anything. That's just the lakes. So it's, I mean, land of 10,000 lakes, you can go eat your heart out, I guess. So it's
Yeah, take that. Yeah, take that, Minnesota. Take
take that,
that. Great.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Great Lakes region. Yeah, yeah. God, I got to get up there one of these days. I mean, I have a big Yukon moose that is on my list to shoot, so I'll be making the trip to Alaska
Yeah,
at some point. So,
gotta do it, man.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But
Don't forget about the Alaskan bears too, massive Kodiaks.
yeah. I have a story on my Substack piece that I'm currently working on. My dad was up in Alaska over 15 years ago. It was actually 3 years after 9/11, like to the exact day. And he was up there hunting for moose, and he and one of his buddies were on a self-guided hunt, and they got attacked by a grizzly. So I got that story that I get to share at some point. But yeah, you don't want to mess around with a mother sow and her cubs, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
And
but
that was
anyhow,
or just on the bear hunting thing. A friend of mine who's sort of kind of an experienced, older hunter guy, he was explaining to me like the difference between bear hunting, these massive grizzlies compared to other types of hunting. And he's like, there's like a certain level of danger and like alertness that you have when you're hunting these animals compared to like normal game, which really does sort of like amplify the adrenaline and sort of the excitement of the hunt itself. And the thing too about bears, which a lot of people don't realize, is they can move surprisingly quietly. So like you would expect, you hear a bear lumbering out in the woods, but no, not really. They you're just minding your own business and then you turn around and the bear is right there, sort of thing. And especially in Southeast Alaska, with tons of shrubbery and ferns and whatnot, these things can hide in there pretty well. So it's very, very exhilarating hunting, to hear him say it.
oh yeah, I can imagine so. I mean, big old bears on my list as well. So one of these days, I'll make it up there. Let's talk about another, staple of Thanksgiving tradition, the post Thanksgiving nap. Because for Europeans, like
Uh,
typically, most Americans, you're typically eating your dinner on like 5, 6, 7 o'clock, at night. But Thanksgiving traditionally is held very, very early during the day. It's around like 1 or 2 o'clock, is
yep,
when
it's
you're
like a
actually,
lunch. Yep.
yeah, it's kind of like a
Yeah.
late lunch, and I'm not sure why that is, what the, origins of that are, but it's just something that people do. And then, because you're
Mhm.
eating like such an exuberant amount of food,
Yep.
because typically people they're not eating breakfast, so it's like your one big meal you have during the day. And then naturally, because you just ate all that food, everyone goes and finds their own couch to sleep on. And everyone will always take like an hour and a half long snooze or something like that,
It's so great.
so
No, that's the way to do it. I mean, you have, like basically a late lunch and then, have your nap if you want, and then wake up and then, keep pecking around, munching throughout the rest of the day. It's great. And that's also how, when I was in South Africa, that's what they do for Christmas, right? So they have like a big ass Christmas lunch. And then, it's the same sort of thing as like with Thanksgiving. And it was like, oh yes, this makes sense. Like I see why you guys do this. And, just stuff my face with a bunch of food, take a nap, wake up, and eat some more.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't really noticed that effect as much in my family, just because a lot of us are younger. So, but for
Hmm.
the older people, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, I definitely realized it much more like when we were kids. It was like kind of that time when like the kids got to go off and do like their own thing because they're hyper and they're full of energy, and all that stuff, and the adults are just not there to supervise them. So I mean, when I was a kid, me and my male cousins and we'd get out like Nerf guns and start just like shooting each other and stuff in the garage and getting up into shenanigans and everything. Because like everyone was either inside watching football or was just passed out on the couch. Well, and I'm sure like the alcohol has a little bit of effect on that as well.
Mm. Yeah. No, it definitely. Alcohol definitely makes me sleepier quicker than it makes me rowdy. Essentially. So yeah, I'll tend to have a nap if it's the meal is had with some drinks, and it also seems to be kind of like a man thing. Like, um,
Yeah.
because I noticed like with my wife's family and mine, like the people falling asleep after food tend to be the males, and I don't know why that is, but it's just it's just a thing. So
Yeah, and I don't know what that is. Maybe like it's a difference in like metabolism or something, or maybe how our
yeah,
bodies like process things differently or something. Who knows? I mean, at least on my side, I mean, we could speak to gender roles here and everything like that, but the women are always the ones afterwards who are like doing the dishes and clean up the leftovers and everything like that. So they're
oh yeah,
actually like they're out and about, doing stuff and staying active. I guess like the guys, it's like, hey, we've been working hard all week, we're just gonna relax and take our day off and watch football and take our naps. So
yeah.
leave us be, woman.
No, that's definitely the dynamic, both with my family and my in laws. It's yeah, they just the women put in a lot of work to make it nice and awesome. Everybody really appreciates it, and then that's just kind of how it goes.
Yep, it's good to be a guy, isn't it, fellas?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. Um, let's talk about the other side of this as well is that of course, because it's Thanksgiving, you're always going to have leftovers. It's just how it goes. There's no way you're going to eat all this food. So I mean, I remember when I was coming back from college. 6 or 7 years ago at this point, I loved it because I just got to sneak away with a bunch of turkey and stuff like this, and that was just food for me for the next like week or so. When I was back at school and everything. And it was good home cooked like Thanksgiving food,
Mm,
which also is a rare treat because it's actually food that still is good after you microwave it. Like mashed
yep.
potatoes and stuffing and turkey.
Oh
Like you
yeah.
could totally just stick that in the microwave and it still tastes great.
No,
So
I loved Thanksgiving in college because I was on like the college meal plan, and our cafeteria was not exactly the most appetizing thing in the world, and I didn't have like a bunch of cash to go out to eat or really a good location to like cook myself food. So yeah, every time I go to Thanksgiving, it was just like the best. You come home, you're seeing family, you're just smashing this delicious grub, which your body has been denied for the past several months or whatever. So yeah, it's great, and the leftovers are also excellent. Like you say, Thanksgiving food it's it's really good as leftovers, and sort of like an inside family joke we have is like my dad always going on about open faced turkey sandwiches after Thanksgiving, and yeah, that's kind of a real thing. You open up the fridge, take out some cold cut slices of turkey, throw on some mayo, some salt, and a ton of pepper, and voila, it's really really good.
No, I love the leftovers as well. It's really nice to have some really like home cooked feel if your family does it really well. Especially because I do live near a college town. It's not exactly the best restaurants, so it is incredibly nice to have that change in diet. One of my favorite parts. just have the leftover turkey, make sandwiches with it, put some mustard on that turkey, make a sandwich with it. It's fairly good.
Yeah, yeah, turkey is such a friendly, food for just those very basic, sandwiches, like not even 5 minutes and, you've got yourself a meal right there. And, so it's like one of those holidays where you keep like going back to it and everything afterwards. But, let's talk about, one other thing that is associated with Thanksgiving now. And this has definitely picked up, in the last like 30 to 40 years or so, but seems to be, declining a little bit now just because of, the coof and everything. But do you guys partake in the Black Friday shopping at all? Is this something that you guys do?
No, no, we've never done that.
Oh, used to a while ago, but that
The
kind of
the
died
only
out for us.
yeah, the only thing, the only extent to which like historically I participated in Black Friday would be, I think I would, yeah, as if I was looking for like a piece of computer hardware or something, and then I see it on Best Buy or Amazon at like a discount, and I just wait to buy it, and I just place the order online. But I'm not going out to the the shopping centers to like fight with the peons over you know reduced price TVs. It's just
Yeah.
no, thank you.
Yeah, this definitely seemed like it kind of like had its peak, I'd say, in like the late like 2000s, and then it
Yeah,
seems to like kind of be, stepping off a little bit more each year. I mean, they got like the Cyber Monday now and everything. I don't know. I don't know if like foreigners get this. Like, I don't know if Europeans do the same thing, but so Black Friday is supposed to be like the cheapest shopping day of the entire year. And traditionally, it was a time when a lot of people would get a lot of their Christmas shopping done like really, really early. So people would get up, at ungodly hours of, the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and go camp outside of like the major superstores and everything. So they could rush inside and be the first person to grab something off the shelves and everything like this. And I, unfortunately, when I was in college, I worked at a Dick's Sporting Goods, and I had to work on a couple of Black Fridays when I was in college, and it was an absolute nightmare. You have to get in there super super early, make sure all the shelves
ugh,
were perfectly stocked, and it just absolutely sucked. And I went like a couple times. I was like a little kid, not in like the really early morning stuff, but kind of like just in the middle of the afternoon, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something, just to see what was like still there. And I was like kind of like in a small town as well, so it was just like mom and pop shops, so it wasn't an absolute zoo. But yeah, no, I would never want to participate in the, going to the malls or something like that and, getting involved with, certain groups and, having to deal with that. So,
Now that's one good thing. I'm glad it's dying out. The mass, just mindless consumerism of Black Friday. Looking back on it, was not a good thing. I used to think it was really cool that we get video games for 20% off or whatever. But looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, this is just kind of gay, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. I mean, at this point, if I'm going to do like the shopping, I'll like, take advantage of, like a Cyber Monday deal or something, But to be honest, I
yeah,
mean, I'm just such an advocate for minimalism as well, So like there really isn't anything that I really want to like buy and
yeah.
purchase.
And that's the thing with me is like I'm kind of the same way. Like since I came back from South Africa, like I bought myself, what did I even buy myself? Like aside from like food or whatever, I don't know. Like some clothes, but
Yeah,
not that
really.
much, and a pistol and an extra magazine.
Well,
And
there you
that's
go.
what I bought. That's what I bought. So
Yeah, I will say this: if there was like a Bass Pro Shops or a Cabela's that was like right next to me, oh man, I think I would. I think I might actually do like the parking lot, early morning, stakeout. If it would be
yeah,
really hard for me to resist doing that, I mean, getting in
no,
there and getting deals on ammo or something like that,
yeah, yeah. So I think every man does have like a couple of things he likes to sink money into. For me, it's historically been like guitars and guitar gear, but I've sort of kind of realized at a certain point that yeah, like once I have my good stuff or whatever, that's fine. I don't need any more. Or if I need like a certain sound or I want a certain sound, like I'll get a guitar that will do that, and then that's it. So, but just this needless gear acquisition is not really my thing. And similar sort of thing with firearms, like because until fairly recently, I didn't have a lot of expendable income. There's been like 2 periods in my life where I can buy guns, like I sort of afford them, and one was when I was a subcontractor for Shell, like in 2015. And then another one is like right now. And in that middle period, I was either too broke or living in a foreign country where I couldn't buy guns. So, but yeah, I do like guns. And there is we do have some really nice gun stores in my area. Like there's a Sportsman's Warehouse not too far away. In addition to, I think probably, yeah, there's at least 2 other gun stores, I think. So it's fun, and it's not bad to like those things or to buy them, but the whole like mad rush to just like buy shit for consuming sake is not
Yeah,
really my thing, unless of course like what you're saying is if there's something that you wanted for quite some time and the sale's coming up, yeah, then you can sort of take advantage of it and save some money. There's no problem with that. And but yeah, just gobbling up product on like Black Friday, like my TV is 2 years out of date, I need a new one, sort of thing. I don't go in for that.
yeah, like the planned obsolescence kind of,
Mm,
everyday products, like at like a Walmart or Target. No, I'd never want to camp out there. But like, these like sportsman kind of stores, they just attract a different kind of person, almost like a
yeah.
higher class like clientele. So it's not a, complete zoo when you go in these places.
No.
So not everyone's like trying to beat everybody over the head, trying to get
No.
their hands on something.
No, no,
So
no.
it's much more like gentlemanly, and I mean, like when for me at least, if there's something that like just a normal, like electronic or something, I'm much more inclined to buy it off of something like Amazon. But
Yeah.
for like a sportsman gear and stuff like that, like I want to go to the stores because like the stores, I mean, they're cool, they're fun
Oh
places to
yeah.
go and see and everything like that. So
No,
I
and
would much
and for a
rather
lot
go
of these
there.
things, and for a lot of these things too, especially like guns, you want to see how it feels in your hands, right? And how the trigger, how that pulls, and you can read about it online, but there's no substitute for like experiencing it yourself. And some things that you see in person that really do sort of present themselves differently in good ways or bad ways compared to what you sort of see online. And yeah, it's funny you're saying the the how people don't go totally crazy at a lot of these sporting goods stores. So when I was in college, um, this was when was this? I think it was in 2012 when there was a lot of a talk with that Obama might be putting in regulations to make it harder to get AR-15s or quote unquote assault weapons. And my buddy really wanted an AR-15, so I was like, yeah, cool, I'll go with you to Sportsman's Warehouse or whatever. And there was like this this newsletter that they put out, and they're like, we got a new shipment of AR-15s coming in, this day. And yeah, it was crazy. Like, but it was very civilized, So like everyone showed up, everyone formed a line, but there was just like this line of people at Sportsman's Warehouse to get AR-15s, and they're like, "All right, we're out," And I went, "Oh," and then they just go home, wait for the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
batch.
there always is, those gun scares that kind of come up when,
Yeah,
whenever like a Democrat
Or
gets
when they
into
ban
power.
certain types of ammo, like Russian ammo.
Yeah, yeah, occasionally you will get those, like gun grabs and stuff like that where everyone
mm-hmm.
shows up and all that stuff. I remember I was working in a gun shop during the 2016 election, and the day before the election, people just stormed in there because everyone was just so certain that Hillary Clinton was going to win, and we're like, okay, we got to get this stuff now. Not taking into account that like 2 months down the road is actually when she would get into office and when like laws could come down, but people were just so worried about it. But yeah, that's really like the only time you really see, things get really out of hand in these sports shops. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, again, you know, this is not the thing you really want to be focusing on, like with Thanksgiving. Maybe there
No.
actually is like a subversive element, in our culture that was stressing out the consumerism, kind of like what Populist was saying earlier about how
Yeah.
this was attached, to the day, literally the day after. It's supposed to be a day of thanks and family and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
they're like, okay,
Now
back
it's
to
it,
consumerism.
yeah, immediately. Yeah, day of thanks
Yeah.
immediately followed by I don't have enough. You know.
I need
Mm,
this brand new TV that just came out that's 50 inches or whatever. One of these giant TVs in Walmart.
mm, yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's good thing to wrap up here on. It's just focus on the things that really matter. Focus on the great food, holding on to those traditions, traditional family recipes, family values, and all that good stuff. I think that's a good message to send to everyone who might be listening to this on Thanksgiving. Maybe you're away from family, you're traveling, you won't be able to see everyone. So give this a listen, and to anyone, happy Thanksgiving to all, and we'll wrap this up. Anything you guys want to show? Poppy, let's go first.
Yeah, if you guys would like to check out my YouTube channel, I am making content again. I just had posted my interview with Thomas. Please check that out. I have a couple of other great interviews. I have one coming up with Panama Hat that's going to be really good. Yeah, just check that out. It's just at American Populist on YouTube.
Cool, cool. Patriarch, what do you got, man?
Yeah, so I think tomorrow I'm going to be on Settler's Lament. Um, he's going to be having kind of a post-election show that he wants. So I think I'm going to be on that. I think that's going to be tomorrow at maybe 1 p.m. Alaska time. I'm not sure. Go check over Settler's Lament channel for that. Also, I'll probably be putting out another video soon. I've kind of ran out of steam on the Reflections of a Russian Statesman series. I feel like most of the meat was in the first half of the book, which I've completed. And streams are just more fun. So I think I'm going to be planning a stream on with some other base dads on how to find good women, how to attract them, and navigate relationship dynamics, fatherhood, things like that. So kind of lesson to the young Zoomer out there on sort of strategies we use to find kind of fulfilling life partnerships and form families and things like that. So I'm planning on doing a stream like that. That may be coming out. I don't know if it'll be next weekend, but maybe in the weekend after Thanksgiving. So yeah, that's what I got. I'll be putting out another video, Settlers Lament, tomorrow, and then the dad stream, the Chad dad stream, maybe in 2 weeks.
Cool. Yeah, that'll be a good name for it. All right. For myself, yeah, so keep an eye out, Man's Hour on Thursdays, as you boys know, and then keep an eye out for my own Substack, Son of Orion, my Twitter, and then also go follow Old Glory Club. We just did a stream with Aaron McIntyre breaking down Trump coming back, running for 2024. So that was a good conversation we had. And then subscribe to the Old Glory Club Substack. We're putting out a lot of good content over there. So be on the lookout for that. And thanks for joining us, guys, and happy Thanksgiving.